Welcome to The Bridge, your playbook for thriving in the field. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to spot opportunity, build new skills, and take charge. Let's dive in.
Welcome to podcast number 3 of The Bridge. I can't believe we made it to 3. Jimmy, how you feeling today?
Oh, man, this is great.
We got through 2.
We got through 2.
And we're here through 3. Heather's keeping us on track.
Yes.
Heather, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm ready to rock and roll.
All right. My name is Andrew Catapano. I am the COO here at Channel Partners, your host of The Bridge podcast episode 3. With me, as always, is Jimmy Knight and Heather Petrone. Jimmy, tell us real quick, remind the listeners, viewers, however you're getting this podcast, what is it that you do here, Jimmy?
The Regional Director of Operations. I handle the Northeast Mid-Atlantic and the Southeast Florida area, Buffalo, over to Maine, down to Alabama, everything in between.
How long you been here, Jimmy?
Been with the company for 2 years now in total, 20 management experience between Beam Team and Pro Marketing and now BTR, which is merged into Channel Partners.
Right.
Channel
What type
Partners.
of projects do you oversee?
Oversee Walmart's, Home Depot's, new stores. We also do new store rollouts, build outs, Best Buy, ton of projects, even including tech, where we do smart lock for Walmart, and also brand advocate stuff for Apple.
Nice. All right. So anyone listening, this is your guy if you're working on any of those teams.
Yes.
And he's also your guy if you want to know who's going to win the next football game. That is either on. He's a wealth of knowledge and a true Eagles fan, which I absolutely love. Go Birds. Ms. Petrone, what is it that you do here?
I am Director of Internal Communications. So all the newsletter things, anything that happens to be updating you, anything where you're getting updates from
this
the company.
Right now.
Yes.
This right now. You have been. We couldn't have done this without you.
Right.
Which is a cool new innovative way of getting some information out to the field. And for those of you listening for the first time, this is episode 3 of The Bridge, where we take some HQ insights, bring them to the field. But as we know, a bridge goes both ways. We also take those field insights, bring them back to headquarters so we can improve and become the best version of a team that we can be and allow our individuals to be the best version of themselves that they can be. So
we're talking about power moves today.
Is it power moves today?
Yeah, owning your growth. So we want to hear stories of how people have either crossed over laterally or moved up in their career. And Jimmy,
yes,
you told me a story that you worked in the field and you took out the trash for 2 years.
Yes. I was the trash guy, right? Pro Marketing. Back when we were servicing Home Depot, a project manager, his name was Chris Donovan. He's still with the company right now.
Shout out to Chris.
Saw a spark in me and said, hey, I see you sweeping. But I know you can do more, right? Why be good when you can be great? So he stuffed the planogram in my hand and said, hey, we're doing these turbos. I need you to come over here and run it. And the rest is history between him giving me and empowering me, right, to run things, to the Vice President of Operations, Brian Abraham, trusting and growing in me, how to do things correctly and grooming me. It's been history from there.
What were you doing specifically in the field at that time that, let's say, was there another guy taking out the trash that just didn't have that spark maybe that you had, that you were kind of like exuding, I can do more? Or like what specifically do you think?
Made you stand? It wasn't the way you held the dustpan.
No, it wasn't that. I think he just seen that there was an opportunity for me to do more, right? Because I was sitting there bored, just looking at everybody work. And he's like, why are you the designated trash guy, right? So he showed interest in me, for one, and he talked with me where a lot of people, they just didn't talk. It was just, hey, just take out the trash. Nobody wanted to see the ability.
So you got kind of lucky there with him taking an interest when other people didn't.
Correct.
But I would like to know, what do you think somebody could do in the field to kind of help, make that transition a little bit easier
make it more evident.
Yeah.
I think you be noticed, right? Speak, reach out, talk to people, right? Get to know your team, get to know who's running the project, right? Let them know your abilities, all right? Let them know what you can't do. Let them know your restrictions, right? And once you make that bridge, that connection with that person, then they can be able to kind of trust in you and see,
Right.
This person, he has the ability to do it.
I think getting your face in front of the right people is important, and like reminding them that you're there. So, I mean, this is not the same industry, but at one time I worked in movies, and I was an extra in a movie called Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Movie.
Really?
Good
Yes,
movie.
they cut my scene. I'm very upset about it.
So we can't fact check this?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm in there. I'll show you where it is. But you can see me in the background still. But I had a very close up, prominent scene. And the whole thing was I got a tip from another person that had worked in the industry. And they said, get your face in front of the most important person on set, which is that second AD who's in charge of all of the extras. And get your face in front of him, stay close to him, listen, and be within earshot. If he needs somebody, you're going to be Johnny on the spot. I'm here for you. Okay. When you don't have to go to the bathroom, just say you have to go to the bathroom, because it's an excuse to get in front of that person's face and say, I just want you to know that I'm going to the bathroom and I will be back in 2 minutes. Why? Because now that person's like, this person's responsible. They're coming to me and telling me they have to go to the bathroom. That's transparency, that they'll be back in 2 minutes. They did what they said. They were held accountable. They came back, right? So all of those little things actually help when you're, on a job. And just for me, like I was in earshot of him the whole time. And he was like, I need somebody for this scene, you. And he pointed to me because I had been in front of his face all day long.
And I think to your point, Heather, making yourself available, making yourself visible, And again, I'm not going to get into the fine line between being visible and being annoying, right? Just, there's some times where you just, come on, can you just do what I've asked you to do first? Eat your appetizer before you ask for dinner.
Right.
I get that. That's not our message today. Our message today is not what you do with it when you get the opportunity, what you do with it. The message today is about making yourself visible, putting yourself out there, and trying to create that spark of what that next move might be for you. If you want to continue to grow and progress through the company.
Kind of seeking opportunity too, right? Like you're kind of there just at somebody's beck and call, just see, is there an opportunity where I can participate in this? Is there another opportunity where I can participate in this, right? We have somebody from who previously was in the field and moved laterally over into recruiting. So we have Reggie Martin here, who's a talent acquisition manager. Reggie, how did you make that transition?
I basically started with a Beats program, and then that program ended and I moved to Break Fix, which at the time it was brand new. And I think I had 3 Target stores when it first started, and then it exploded like it did. So I was a field rep for a while. I was one of the first field reps in California. So I was able to build a lot of relationships with people, and I could watch it grow from the ground up, which was really interesting and nice to see. And the way I really made my thing is just working hard, just doing my job. I always tell people, I just ask people to do their job. You can do more, you can do less, but just do your job. Being open and communicating with people, and then also letting your intentions be known, that you want to move up and you want to grow with the company. And it doesn't always happen when you want it, but it happens when it's supposed to. So lucky for me, the person who brought me into recruiting, she had spoken to me before about a previous role, and she remembered me. And she really wanted someone on the recruiting team who had that field experience, who knew what it was like. So when we were looking for new people in the field, that I could explain to them like the real life, what it actually is, and not what it reads on paper. And that's how I really transitioned over to the recruiting team.
Yeah.
Listen, there's one thing he said in there that I think is worth noting, and I hope we all picked up on it. Having people know your intentions, and then understanding that things may not happen when you want them to, they'll happen when they're supposed to. So, I'm a huge advocate of what Mr. Miller just said right there. And I think at the end of the day, there's, something about just staying out there, being proactive, making it known where you want to be, understanding that your timing may not be the same as someone else's timing. Mm-hmm. Your timing may not be the same as the project or your leader's timing. But if you continue to put yourself out there, make it known, and follow and I love the fact that we've done these episodes in order. I don't know if you tuned into the first two, but we went from, value proposition statements and our great, a guest, Jim Folk, our CEO. Then we went into, first day on the job and everything, you learn. And now we're jumping into natural progression, right? Mm-hmm. Episode 3. This has happened quickly in the episodes, but we may be talking about months of separation of understanding these 3 episodes for an associate. You may not start tomorrow and then you're advanced next week or next month as these podcasts happen. But continue to put yourself out there, continue to make it known, and when it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and it'll happen when it's supposed to happen.
And it's taking ownership of like where you want to go in life and putting that out there and setting an intention and just constantly trying to surround yourself with the people that, are where you want to be and learning from them, right? And
yes.
So
I'll tell you one thing before we get, because you guys have really sparked this in me, and I know that, we want to keep these tight, and we've been, our producer has been like, make sure we get the Andrew's rambling. But I will tell you, I consider, and I'll give you guys this, all right? You're a book. Don't stop at chapter 2. Don't stop at chapter 3. Don't stop at chapter 4. It's a choose your own adventure. It could go, I don't know, I'm dating myself here with the choose your own adventure books, but if you guys remember those, you'd read something that's like, what path do you want to take now? And I remember, if you remember those stories, some of them would end right there and some would take you to the next chapter. They were called choose your own adventure books. I just want to continue to encourage everybody that you don't forget that at some point you get to a point in your life where you say, it's not happening the way I think it's supposed to happen. That decision did not go the way I thought it was supposed to go. Understand the book isn't finished. All right? Wait for it. You never know what that might reveal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents. Sorry. I get the cue cards of I get a safe word when I start rambling like that. I just got it. So
well, speaking of somebody that had to choose paths, like I know this person personally, he's here and ready to give some insight into how he made a lateral move as well. But he did not have an easy upbringing, and there were a lot of paths that he could have gone down. And thank goodness, he knew what he wanted, and he had some opportunities and really just kept moving himself forward to get himself out of bad situations.
Right.
He was constantly tackling bad situations, and he just kept finding the light and moving towards the things that he wanted, because he knew he didn't want to live,
right,
and be a product of his environment, right?
Yeah.
So Dante Platt is here. He also moved from the field and moved into recruiting. I actually hired him and gave him a chance.
Great.
He was persistent, man. I mean, he wanted to get out of the field because he was on the road a lot, missing his family. He has now a newborn baby, and he knew he wanted to be working from home, and he kept just pushing and pushing. I mean, this guy is persistent. So let me hear from Dante. Dante, can you give us your insight of how you moved?
So I made my big career move. I started out as a merchandiser. Then I moved up into a lead position. And from that lead position, I really was very persistent in seeking a more valuable position to help overall and use my skills. So I asked anybody that I reached out to. That one day I actually got a chance to be a recruiter, and I took full advantage of that opportunity again with a, more proactive attitude. I did everything I had to do to make sure I made it out of training, and I'm here today.
I got to say, too, when he says that he did everything he had to do to make it out of training, he did not have the computer skills at all. And he worked at night, and he, is married to somebody who's good with the computer and worked with her at night. So he really pushed himself. That was not an easy transition for him. I took a lot of time hopping into calls to show him some things, to like little tricks and things like that. But he was very persistent. I thought to myself, if this guy is this persistent, asking me to move into corporate somehow, he's going to be that persistent on finding us some other employees. And he's doing great.
That's good. That's great.
Do you have any, Jimmy? You're a voice from the field, and what's your best success story out there of somebody who went from, other than the trash man, to here? I mean, come on, that's a good one.
Yes.
Do you have another one where you led somebody or you heard of somebody else out in the field that said, listen, they took what we gave them and they made it better? They asked, they made it, they created. Anybody inspire you in the company that you've seen do that?
Yes. Several individuals. They kind of had humble beginnings, right? They started off at the bottom, that I work with, like side by side, to the point where they got promoted, right, up to I want to say FIM, field management. That's what we used to call it back in the day. This person never faked it until she made it. She was really determined, right, and on getting promoted. So she would just stay wherever I was at. She would work on my team. She worked for me finally till she got to the point where she got promoted to field management. But really good success story because she was adamant, right? She always thought that, it could never happen to me. It could never happen to me. But she was prepared for the opportunity, right? And that's the key, being prepared when the opportunity avails itself.
There you go.
And she latched on, and she's still with us till today. Still doing a phenomenal job. A lesser role, but that's only because things happen, right? Where you have to maybe step down. But definitely one of those things where I was proud of a person that I could partner with and be able to pull her up, right? To a point where she could be able to be successful.
So putting yourself out there, being available, being noticed, being in front of people, knowing that it may not always happen on your time,
right?
You know, but when the time does come and the bell rings,
you're prepared.
You're prepared.
Be ready to answer it, right?
Right.
We have Laura Miller also here.
I mean, this is going to seem oversimplified, but you have to be a good employee, proving yourself and, you know, earning trust of your managers and, you know, earning credibility. You have to be a good employee first and foremost. So again, this sounds very simple, but showing up for your shifts, being very communicative, and just really being empowered to own your job. One way you can show empowerment and show that you have those skills is problem solving. So with your manager, if you have a problem, don't go to them immediately, here's my problem, fix it for me. Instead, here's my problem, and either here's how I fixed it or here's my idea of how to fix it. What do you think? Because even if you don't have a fully formed idea, even if they don't like your idea, you're showing them that you have those critical thinking skills and you are trying to own your position and collaborate with them instead of expecting you to solve that. So little ways like that. Also, if you are in your role and you're just feeling stuck a little bit maybe, or you're ready for the next step, but nothing's opened up yet, but you want to show your manager you're ready. Number one, always be open and honest with your manager. Just so you know, I hope I'm showing you this in my day-to-day, but I am interested in this. This is where I want to be in the next year. How can I get there? Talk to them about how to get there because maybe they have other ideas you're not aware of. But again, growth, if you're feeling stuck or want to move up and you don't know where to go next, growth isn't just a position change, a promotion, growing laterally, or excuse me, growing like up. There's lateral growth where you're expanding in your skills and your experience. So this could be asking your manager for a stretch assignment. It may be out of your day-to-day, but they need help with something and you're going to take on this extra assignment that gives you some new skills and experience. Maybe there's some trainings or a webinar or something they can send you to, maybe a job shadow in another nearby market that opens you up to another job or skills or experience. So you're expanding your skill set that way. You're showing you're interested, showing you're eager. So your manager has that top of mind. And then those gained skills, that gained experience kind of prepares you when another job promotion or, you know, job change does open up where your manager can think of you for that because you've had those conversations and you proved it through your work.
Right. And then, you know, Jim brought this up in episode 1, like us all coming together, these different teams coming together, there are going to be more opportunities where you can, like Laura said, stretch those stretch assignments, right?
So at the end of the day, showing up, being available, being honest,
being a team player,
being a good employee, you know, doing it. But I want to touch one thing on what Laura said, because I think it's important. Problem solving. I think a lot of times we have a tendency to bring problems and have no solution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just want to be this is, well, what do you want to do about it? How can you critically think through it?
Mm-hmm.
So how important is that in the field of being recognized once you have an opportunity to face the problem?
Right.
You're also presenting a solution.
That's a big transferable skill too into
Yes.
anything, right?
Yeah. Shows accountability, right?
Mhm.
Shows that you can be able, anybody can point out a problem. Hey, that roof is leaking. We can all point it out.
What are you gonna do about it?
Exactly. How do we fix it, right? So that's key in order to showing your growth. How can you point out a problem, solve it, and then be transparent about the problem, right? This is what we did to fix it. It's key in order to be able to move forward and get a new position.
Yeah.
Skills are a big question I know from people in the field too, is like, do I have the skills? Like even Dante was like, I don't know if I have the computer skills, but I have a wealth of information from the field that I can bring into recruiting, and I'm good talking to people, and I'm persistent, which is another transferable skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got that fire under him to go after what he wants. Like, and there was no doubt about it, because he was constantly doing that. I would hear about it from other district managers too. This guy wants to move up. He wants to move up. So he was putting it out there, right? So what other transferable skills do you think there are that, like, from the field that would carry over into other positions or other projects even?
You know, I would say being the determination, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to pivot, try new things.
Flexibility, adaptability.
Absolutely. We go into stores. For instance, we're in a new store right now in Jacksonville. It's a new Home Depot, and we have people working there. And a couple employees came to me and said, you know, I like this, right? I like the hours. Everything is great, but you know, I was working on a couple of tech projects. Where I was going in and I was doing smart locks and things of that nature. And I've been applying that to this when I'm doing the merchandising, but I want to branch out a little bit, right? There's opportunity for me to move into a different department. And with channel partners, with us merging all together, one statement, right? Now you have that opportunity to possibly do different things, right? To keep you engaged, keep you open, show opportunity,
right?
You know.
Ready for a fresh start in the new year? We're hiring cosmetic merchandisers nationwide, and January 2026 roles are already filling fast. As a cosmetic merchandiser with channel partners, you'll shape how shoppers experience the beauty aisle, making products stand out and stores run smoothly. You'll set planograms, refresh displays, stock products, and support store teams with results you can see every day. You'll enjoy weekly pay and early wage access, plus helpful travel support for assignments that take you beyond your usual stores. And with a schedule that flexes around your availability, you can take on the hours that make sense for you. So what are you waiting for? Roles are filling fast, and your next opportunity is waiting. Apply now at channelpartners.com/careers. Channel Partners. Powered by people, driven by innovation.
Let me ask you something real quick, Jimmy, before we move on, because, okay, so now I want you to put on the other hat. You talked about something you were working at Home Depot, and what if you got a person who's really excited to get to the next level, wants to be clear, wants to be transparent, wants to work hard. You just don't have anything for them right now. You can't. How do you bridge that? Bring in our name again. How do you bridge that conversation? What do you say to a person to keep them motivated?
Hang in there.
But let them know, I just, as a leader, I'm sure you had to handle it. I'd love to move this person up. I got nothing right now. What can you as a leader do to keep that person motivated?
Well, what I try to do is tell them to have patience, right? Right now, the opportunity hasn't availed itself, but you continuing to do the same things you do every day, being regimented, right? Ready for work, on time, having all the information that you need, mastering, right? What you're doing every day. The opportunity will avail itself, but you have to have that patience, because right now it's not here. But as we grow, right, and you have those labor pains, sooner or later there's going to be a position or something that's going to open up that we can be able to utilize your skill set.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. It's just a little
like
bit
that.
patience. Give us opportunity, right? It's not right now, but it's
And maybe
soon
have that
coming.
conversation proactively before they ask you, so it's easier to have it. Hey, I noticed you're working real hard. I noticed it seems like you want to move up. Let me tell you, you're on the right track. I don't have anything right now. Maybe be transparent, preempt that,
Yeah,
right?
preemptive.
Exactly.
Yep. Laura Miller's back, and she has some insight on this one too with the skill sets. Let's hear
Huge
from her.
fan of Laura.
Communication is huge. I always say communication is huge. This could be when you're in the field and I don't communicate with consumers much, but I go into the store and I communicate with the store manager and I have to build a relationship. And to build a relationship, I have to have good communication skills. That's my body language. That's my interpersonal skills. If I am in assisted sales or a market development manager or a trainer, it might be very important to me to have those sales skills and interpersonal skills with customers. Like I'm not going to be able to make a sale or train a store associate or anything like that if I don't have good communication. I can't relate to people. I'm not polite. And then, if you move into, let's say you come from the field and you move into results coordinator role or move into a district manager or a field operations manager role, communication is huge. You're constantly, and it's not just verbal, it's written as well. You need to be able to recap things. You need to be able to communicate cross-functionally with other departments. You need to be able to communicate with your staff in the field. If you're in the field, you need to recap things effectively for your management. So I would say communication is number one. And it's all facets of that. Like I said, body language when you're in person, but also written and verbal is huge as well. Organization, sense of urgency. You need to be organized no matter what your role is. You need to have a sense of urgency to react quickly. And with that also comes agility, whether you're in the field, whether you're supporting in more of a remote role. You need to be able to react quickly to assist with client or field needs. So those are some skills that will help you in no matter what role you're in and what level you're at.
Nice.
I'm a huge fan of Laura. Working those beach waves today too, which are fantastic. It's a skill in and of itself. Let's flip the script for a second though, because I know we've talked about what we can do as individuals. We've talked about what we can do as leaders to motivate individuals, to keep them motivated if they do come to us. Do we have? I have one, but I'm gonna push to you guys for a second. Anything out there where you felt like you were really led by somebody in the field, where you felt like, boy, this person, I guess I could even open it up to you witnessed someone do it for somebody else, but anything personally where you guys had a mentor out there or somebody you felt really gave you a leg up, inspired you to be better than you were?
I mean, Jimmy mentioned somebody championing his growth early on, right?
Yep.
By moving you out of the trash duty.
Yeah, sure did. And then it further shuttled me to a management position and passing me off to another great person, Brian Abraham, who kind of instilled in me, like it was one of those things where he took an interest in me and just started to grow me to the point where we started working with one another.
Right.
And if he ate, I burped, right?
Right.
Because we were such in tune with what we wanted to do as far as the market is concerned.
That's awesome.
How to build business, how to grow people.
I've always thought that you do not leave, and I'll give it to you, Heather, that you don't leave jobs, you leave supervisors.
Correct.
You don't stay at jobs, you stay with supervisors. You stay with your leadership, right? And you go into the battle with them or you don't.
Right.
Right? So I am a huge proponent of giving my time anytime you can be to get person. That's our job, I think, as leaders, is to help people get further along, get to where they want to be.
Right.
As a partnership to where they couldn't be by themselves.
Right.
That's the whole point. Heather?
You championed my growth with moving into communications, right? So I was in marketing, then I was asked by the former CEO to move into recruiting, and then you sat me down and said, what is it that you like to do? Where do you want to go? What do you like to do? And I said this.
Yes. And as a result, we now have this podcast.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
So
this is my world. This is my stuff right here. I love it.
Outstanding.
Lisa Ryerson is here, and she's somebody else that actually moved laterally. So I think we should hear from her on champions of growth and who championed growth there.
Well, I'll start by saying that I've been lucky to have some great leaders who not only gave me responsibilities, but also trusted me with opportunities that were technically outside of my normal role. One in particular would pull me into projects that maybe weren't mine yet, quote unquote, things that stretched me and gave me visibility across the organization or the company. So, what really stood out and something that I'll always remember and value forever was that they also advocated for me when I was not in the room. Think about that. That kind of sponsorship, having someone amplify your voice and open doors, I would say is what made one of the biggest differences in my growth and can completely change your career trajectory.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I want to give an encouragement to all you leaders out there and some of you who are aspiring to be leaders. I'll give you one factoid of what Lisa just said. It is better to be right in numbers than wrong alone. Okay? So in that sense, get the victory as a team. Don't always try to take the credit. And I think as us as leaders, sometimes we have a tendency to do that, right? I did this, or, I led. I think, and our CEO, we were fortunate enough to have at episode 1, huge at doing that,
yes.
of giving credit or taking blame.
Yeah.
Okay? You have a responsibility as a leader to either take the credit as a team or take the ownership as a leader. But if you are aspiring to be a leader, and if you are one currently, please understand that a group dynamic to succeeding or failing is the way to go. And I love what Lisa had just said there, and that we get people who treat us well when we're not even looking in the room and supporting them.
Yes.
And then to their face, know that we either rise or fall as a team. I absolutely love that. Heather.
Yes.
I want to talk about taking action.
All right.
Right. So what is one step, Jimmy, that a rep could do today to make an impact?
I would say in order to make an impact, a positive one, right, is I would say, again, communication, right? Talking with the people that you work with, trying to get to the point where when you go into work, you have a clear set of directives on what you want to achieve. Understanding your job, completing it 100%, inspecting what you expect, and exceeding the expectation of the customer.
You know what we didn't talk about? We talk about communication. It's easy to communicate, but are you communicating in a positive way, effective way? Like your tone has a lot to do with communication, and you can write anything in a text message, let's say, and you can read it and totally take it the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
Can't pick up sentiment. Can't pick up context.
Right.
Right.
And when you're on the phone with somebody, you have to use a tone of voice. So you have to be careful when you're communicating that you're not complaining about things, right?
Yeah.
When people want to move up in their career, sometimes they look at the negative things. And so I think it's really important to always reframe your brain to, make sure you go into this conversation in a positive way. Don't be complaining. About the lack. Look where are there opportunities? I would love an opportunity. Not like I don't have any opportunities. Don't say the don'ts.
Yeah.
Look for the opposite, right? The glass is half full, not half empty.
Yeah.
Correct.
And
Correct.
I think Laura mentioned that being problem solver. I think I like to enter conversations. You guys can go check me on this. I think a lot of people say, well, I told them about it. I communicated.
But how? How did you do it?
Yes, come in solutions oriented.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? If we're going to have a conversation, especially a difficult one, let's come in solutions oriented. We'll talk about this podcast real quick and we'll move on to the next topic. We were looking, and now we're in episode 3, for a way in which we could get information out to the field, and we could get information from the field back to us. We could have honest dialogues with honest stories and be transparent and help you either see things differently or help us to get to see things differently.
Right.
And then we all kind of froze and said, well, how are we going to do that?
Right.
People don't read anymore. And then, Heather's like, hey, how about a podcast? Why don't we try to do it this way? Listen, we're episode 3. I hope we make it to episode 4. But I will tell you, this is how you get to be solutions oriented.
Correct.
This is complaining with a solution or problem solving with action. All right. So just communicating something, just saying something, drawing attention to something is just not enough.
Right.
I guess is the message here for all of us. But
I would love to hear from Reggie Martin again. He had some really great
let's do it.
nuggets of information. He's going to Reggie, what's a step that our listeners could take, to move in the right direction?
One step I think reps can take to make an impact is to, one, let your intentions be known to your supervisor and ask them what you can do to help. Also, I think just being visible when you have the opportunity and taking advantage of times when you can present or be seen by others that are normally outside of your sphere of influence. So, for example, I was able to go out in the field with Jeremy Rogers, and we did a visit with a target VP, and it exposed me to a different side of the business, and it exposed them to me as well, so they could see the type of work I did. So it helps to build advocates across not just the field you're in, but across the entire company.
I love what he said there, Jimmy. I know you're probably full of comments on this. I want to make one statement, though, as we continue to move through this, because I want to make sure it's clear. And Jimmy, I think you started this. But when your number is called, get after it.
That's it.
Right? Okay. Because I think, and I'm going to date myself too here. Everybody remember the old commercial? You never get a second chance to make a first impression. It was an old Head and Shoulders commercial,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
When the opportunity comes, you've made it known. People are going to make mistakes. That's okay. But when that opportunity comes, your number's called, that bell is rung, answer it.
Right.
Answer it positive, solution-oriented, and take your shot.
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
Yep. So listen, at the heart of today's episode, we're talking about power moves, owning your growth, right? Ownership. So this is all about empowerment. And Kelly's here. And Kelly is the regional director of the Northeast for merchandising and installation. Kelly, can you?
I have never met Kelly.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
she's
Welcome,
here
Kelly.
and she's going to talk about empowerment. What does empowerment mean to you day to day?
Empowerment means creating a culture of trust where people have the autonomy and resources to make decisions and take ownership. It's about setting clear expectations of them and then allowing them to then follow those expectations with flexibility to get the job done without feeling like they're being micromanaged. I believe that empowered employees are more confident, they're more engaged, and we get stronger results from them. It's about creating an environment of trust, but also giving them the knowledge in order to do the job they were hired for.
Awesome.
Great.
Let's go back to Lisa because Lisa's here too with some insight.
To me, empowerment is ownership. So this really means trusting myself and to make the right decisions and staying curious enough to keep learning something new every day. So I would say if someone feels stuck, I'd tell them to embrace, I'm going to call this a growth mindset. Some of you might be familiar with that term. And yes, that came from my time on the training or learning design team. So look at challenges not as threats, but opportunities where you can learn something new and grow. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. I can't tell you how many times I was stuck on a task, a project, or a formula, let's say, and I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure this out. And I would have just reached out to, my counterpart or my manager. I could have, had that answered in a millisecond. So I always tell everyone, do not be afraid to reach out for help when you need it. We have some amazing people that work here at Channel Partners. So please make sure you do that. Also, learning one new thing, it doesn't have to be huge. It can be super simple. So let's say as simple as brainstorming with a coworker, that helps a lot. Me personally, also, that does, again, means you need to reach out to a coworker. So we're going to do that. Learning something new can also be as simple as adopting a new idea or acquiring a new skill. Even gaining a fresh new perspective on something. So maybe it's like for me, I had this time when I was trying to figure out pivot tables and I had my store list and I was trying to figure out inventory and all of this stuff. And I had a counterpart at the time. So she spent some time with me and showed her screen and, we did the screen record and I went back, I took that and then I pushed play and I went back and I downloaded the reports and I practiced and it was like, wow, I still attribute learning the darn pivot tables and all that stuff and lookups to this gal from years and years ago. And it was because she took the time, like 10 minutes, and then I just recorded it, went back and referred to it.
Yep.
Invaluable. So it could be as simple as learning an Excel formula, or maybe there's, you're having trouble organizing, let's just say, your trunk. I've also ran into this. You have so many supplies. You have all of these POP materials, or you have all of these different brochures. Maybe you're training stores on something, or you're installing and you have all these instructions. Some are printed, some are on your phone, and then you have your tools, which you need. Maybe you can talk to a counterpart and ask, hey, do you have some good ideas for, organizing my tools? Like, what do you guys do? Is there some magical, solution to this, or like what's helping you? So learning, I feel, always has a way of opening new doors. And so one small step there that you make builds momentum. And gosh, that's what often gets you moving forward.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you, there's a good segue here into, and I was taught early on in my career, would you rather be comfortable or confident? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good point that Lisa's making there right now. If you feel comfortable every day, that would be great, right? If you got everything you asked for and you were great at everything and you felt comfortable, but comfortableness, unfortunately, doesn't bring confidence to the situation that gets you out of your comfort zone, right? So being tested, trying hard things, if you feel comfortable every day, don't expect you're going to get to the next level.
Right.
Just don't.
Plus, I feel like people get bored when they're comfortable. Like, to me, progress equals happiness. Yes. And so if you're making a little bit of progress all the time, this is like, you don't want to get stuck. And she raised some good points about not feeling stuck. Andrew, if a rep came to you saying that they felt stuck, what kind of advice would you give to them?
Outside of more context, for just being stuck in what? Are you stuck in the mud? Are we stuck on our way to work? Are we stuck?
No, stuck in their career.
Of course. Yeah, stuck in your career. I always ask people, because I love to put the ownership on them for their own progression. Okay, what have you done? What have you done to get unstuck? Right? So my first thing is creating a narrative with them that if they are stuck, why do they feel stuck? What have they done to get unstuck? And do they have a clear understanding of where they want to go once they get unstuck? Right? A lot of people just take it as an emotion. Yeah. I don't feel very fulfilled today and I'm stuck. Right? Then it's more of a personal conversation. But if it's, Andrew, I've tried everything I know how to do, and I can't get out of where I am. That's a different conversation, and it might be broader than that. But the best sentiment I can give them to me is, what have you done to be unstuck? Have you done it? And if you get unstuck, do you have a clear vision of where you want to go?
That's key.
Dante's here again, and he's somebody that has been stuck quite a bit in his life, and I think he has some good advice.
The main advice I would give them is to keep pushing nonstop. I've been through a lot of hard times in my life. Majority of the times I wasn't in field. I've been in the merchandising business going on 16 years. Out of the 16 years, 14 years, I've been actively in the field, been in all 50 states. At the age of 28, I went through a medical problem where I had a stroke. I actually had a Walmart remodel on one of the connexes, and going through that, fighting through that was one thing. But just at this time, it was real hard because I'm like, what I'm going to do, I'm still going to be able to do this. I was in love with the business, still am. That's why I'm still here. And just pushing through, kind of just like being more aware. At that time, I wanted to be a super merchandiser everywhere, everything, doing everything, just being able to control myself, able to understand we have to set ourselves up to win. And that may look different in different cases. So after going through my whole stroke, and I do have daughters, I have lost a child, one of my first child I had lost. I have two older child. Just being able to psychologically mend with that. I was away working, doing projects for a lot of times, a majority of years of their life. I currently have a little one now, which is a good reason why I transitioned to the whole corporate. So now I'm able to spend time with this one and not repeating my steps. And speaking on that, just not learning from experience, not doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different, results. You have to push yourself. Change is hard, but you have to be able to overcome and just oversee. And it gets tough, but you just have to fight through it. Just be a fighter is the best advice I could get. Always try to get better in life, not even in your career, because once you get better in life, everything else will follow. Get better in your practices. Try to treat your body more healthy, be more healthy mentally, because everything is connected. If you're not healthy mentally, you're not going to be healthy physically. I just keep trying to be the best you could be.
I love it.
I love that.
He's great.
He is great, and some inspiring words. And I know we're up against our time for episode 3. I've enjoyed our time so much, from, how do we get ourselves to a better position? How do we get ourselves both personally and professionally advancing? How do we behave as leaders? How do we behave as individuals? But I will tell you something, and then I'll let everyone, my co-hosts here, close it out with me. But, some things Dante said there, some of them got personal, right? I only encourage some of you. I know that we're at different maybe phases in our lives at some point, and some people are going through different things that other people are going through, and some are professional and personal. But I'm reminded by Dante by a quote that I've always loved from Winston Churchill, and his quote was, "When you feel yourself going through hell, just keep going."
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
This
at the
too shall
end,
pass.
yes. So at the end of the day, we may not have all been there identically, but we all can understand that we're all human.
Mm-hmm.
And we foster a culture here at Channel Partners of understanding that, and then allowing us each individual to be the best people we can be, both personally and professionally.
Yep.
And I will end it with this, which was a quote that I wrote on my mirror yesterday, which is appropriate right now, because he just said it, what you put in your body. I'm now eating better. I'll have you all know. All right. I'm into some different things, drinking some greens or whatever I'm doing here. But I am reminded by a quote saying, you can't have wealth if you don't have health.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Treat your body well. With that, I have so loved this 3rd episode here. I've enjoyed all the time so far I've had with my 2 great co-hosts. Any parting words here from you, Mr. Knight, on our 3rd episode?
Well, all I can say is this is a great platform, right? Not only to get communication from HQ, but from the field. And I think it'll reach out, right? It'll touch, whether if you're a new employee, right? Or whether if you have years of experience, this platform can be able to, you can be able to relate to it. So all I can say is, why be good when you can be great?
When you can be
Take
great.
ownership. It's all about empowerment, spotting opportunities, take control of your health, take control of your career, and join us for our next episode, Own It.
Episode
Field
4, Own
wins
It.
and lessons learned.
That's going to do it from us at the Bridge here. Have a great night, evening, day, morning, wherever you are in the country and wherever you are at your day. We'll see you at the next episode of The Bridge.